Welcome, Timberwolves fans, to this edition of Timberwolves Today, your source for all Timberwolves news, rumors, hot takes, deep dives, and more. We're going to start off today's episode with a recap of the game with the Portland Trailblazers. It is the Wolves' last game before the All-Star break, so they're going to have a few days off here. But before that, they had a game against the Portland Trailblazers. I did a preview of this game on the last episode. The Blazers were coming in on a 3-game winning streak, just under two games under 500 in the 9th place in the Western Conference playoff race. This game went pretty much to script, a 24-point win. Clearly, the Wolves are the better team. They should win. 24, definitely very strong. They pretty much had control through the entire game. Last episode, I talked about some of the swings in momentum that the Wolves have been having. But this game, they pretty much hovered in that 15 to 20 point lead for pretty much the entire game. Were in control. Ant was a game time decision with an illness. He did play. He put in a total of 33 minutes. So he logged in, was tied with the most minutes on the court. He only took 10 shots. He was 5 of 10, 4 of 6 from 3. So incredibly efficient, but he did only get 14 points. So that streak of 20-point games ended at 26. That's going to start over here. Obviously, of all of the streaks, this is really not that important. He was third in the NBA behind Shea, who's at like 120, and then Kawhi is in that I think 40, 45 range of games that he has 20-point games in a row. So I really don't think it bothers Ant too much that he wasn't able to keep that going. He's going to settle for the win, but I think it was a good sign, even though he was definitely feeling under the weather, did not do shoot around before the game, was highly efficient in his scoring. The Wolves are lucky that they can find scoring in a number of different ways. 6 players got into double figures today, the biggest being Julius Randle with 41 points. He had 19 in the fourth quarter, finished really strong. He was efficient as well, 14 of 24 from the field, 3 of 7 from three-point, and 10 of 11 from the free throw line with 7 rebounds and 2 assists. It was the Julius who we see every now and then, who we saw in the first and second rounds of the playoffs last year. He can be the number one scorer when Anthony Edwards is off or when he's sick or maybe not even in the lineup. But he came through big today. He's going to need to continue to come through big and show consistency. That's one of the things we've already talked about in past episodes, and I know you're concerned about, is just that inconsistency Julius has shown. Jaden also picked up some of that scoring slack from Anthony Edwards. He had 21, 6, and 6, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Jaden was Jaden. He is the reason why, or performances like today are the reason why Tim Connelly did not want to move Jaden McDaniels at the trade deadline for Giannis. And we're glad that we still have Jaden. Rudy had 17, 8 rebounds. He was 5 of 7 from the field, had some very easy dunks, did miss a couple of opportunities for and ones, but he was a little bit better today from the free throw line, 7 of 10, up from that, his 50% he's been shooting. Off the bench, Nas had 24 minutes, Io had 28. 11 and 12 points respectively. Io played some really good defense, pushed the ball again with pace, was able to see the court. Probably he had 4 assists, probably could have had 5 or 6 if his teammate had made their open basket. Bones only played 9 minutes today. He was in foul trouble. Will be definitely interesting to look at those minutes and see if Io continues to dominate them, whether this was an anomaly of Bones with the 4 fouls. Bones, he just didn't play that well today anyway. So it will be interesting to see how those minutes kind of balance out. When we look at Io compared to Dante, Dante had 29 minutes. He was only 1 of 5 from the field. Io had 28, so just 1 minute less for Io. And so again, I don't see Dante moving from that starting role anytime soon. But Iowa's definitely moving up in those minutes and in important minutes, being in the game at the end and when they were trying to close things out. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But overall, I think just a very good win for the Wolves. Something that I've been continuing to watch is ball movement. Today, they finished with 64% of their field goals coming by assist, up from that 61% after the kind of string of bad losses and playing a lot of ISO selfish ball. We're wanting to see more ball movement, and we are seeing that. Still, the Timberwolves are at 61% from the season, which puts them at 18th in the NBA. That stat, while I think it's important to the ball movement aspect of things, it's rather interesting. OKC is actually ranked 28th with 58% coming by assist. Utah is at number one at 71%. And if you look at the list of teams, you can Google it, that some of the teams with the best stat for field goals coming from assist are actually some of the worst by record teams in the NBA. And so I think that maybe just could be, if you don't have a good record, it probably means you don't have a solid number 1 and 2 stars that are kind of go-to players for you. And so you're forced to move the ball more to get shots. And so that's probably why the teams with worse records have a higher assist total. But I do think it's important for the Wolves to get everybody involved, to distribute the ball, and just not stand around, which obviously they do have a tendency to do. Although Ant was sick today, did have the illness, he did not get to those 20 points. I think we can start to potentially maybe think about Ant as an MVP category, and here's candidate, and here's why. Many of you may have seen some of the tweets that have come out about the postseason awards. If you remember last year, they changed the rules for postseason awards that you have to play 65 games to be eligible for postseason awards. So meaning you can miss 17 games, the 18th, and you're out. Giannis and LeBron are already have passed that threshold, so they can't be eligible for MVP, All NBA First Team, defense, stuff like that. Jokic has missed 16 games, so he only has 1 game left before he is out of, or 2 games left before he's out of that. Steph can miss 2 games, Wemby can miss 3, Kawhi 4, and then we move up Luka. He's missed 6 games, or 11 games, and so he has 6 left. And then Ant has missed 10 games, so he has a little bit more room margin for missing. So what does this mean for Ant in postseason awards? Maybe MVP. I think as far as the West goes, if Jokic, Luka, Wemby do get to that threshold and aren't eligible for postseason awards, Shea is really the only other person in the West that Ant would have to compete against for the MVP. Now, Shea's not in danger right now of missing that threshold, but still something to think about. On the Eastern Conference, Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brown, maybe Cade Cunningham might have their names in that conversation for MVP as well. Just something to look at. Again, I think it probably would take a long shot for Ant to move into that MVP consideration. Because Ant doesn't, take load management days. I think that he will always be in that discussion for moving up that ladder for postseason awards as other players do manage their load. And injuries can always affect things as well. The one thing that I do think that is more realistic is Anthony Edwards becoming an All NBA first team, and so I think that would be a significant award and recognition for him. He definitely deserves it this year. One of the things we see with Anthony Edwards is his reliance on Jeff Newton. You might be looking at the tabs here and saying, "Who the heck is Jeff Newton?" He is somebody that Anthony Edwards definitely leans on at times. Jeff Newton is the assistant coach who is our replay guy. Jeff is a 33-year-old, very young assistant coach. He's the director of player development. And he's their replay review guy. If you don't know who Jeff Newton is, don't be surprised. Most people probably don't. He started as an assistant video coordinator under Kevin McHale about 10 years ago with the Rockets, and then became a scout. He moved to the Sacramento Kings, and then in 2019 moved to the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was the offensive associate and player development coach under Ryan Saunders and Chris Finch. In 2021, 2022, 2023, he was the head coach of the Iowa Wolves, and 2 years ago he moved on to the staff of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he is an assistant coach. And so he does definitely play an important role. If you see Ant, Rudy, Randall, they'll wave their finger. Oh, we want the review. We want the review. And within seconds, Jeff has got to get to his iPad, get to his computer, watch the replays, and tell Chris Finch, hey, we should review this or we shouldn't. And so to be in that role is important. He needs to have Finch's 100% trust that what his initial review of that. Sometimes not only does it go to a possession or a foul or something like that, but there's approximate foul. So sometimes he'll say, well, yeah, we did turn it over, but I do think that they're going to call approximate foul, meaning the foul led to the turnover. And so it's just one of those guys that I know you see during Timberwolves telecasts, but maybe don't know a whole lot about him. And so he does have an important role. How important is his role? Well, right now he's at 72% accuracy. So 72% of the time he does get that call right, and the call goes in the Wolves' favor. So in that case, I guess it would be overturned. Yeah, that's Jeff. The last thing that I'm going to touch on today is the Wolves jerseys and the Timberwolves record by their jersey type. They have 5 different types of jerseys. The Association, Classic, Icon, Statement, and City Edition. So the Association, that is the white uniform, the primarily white uniform. In that uniform, they are 10-9. They're 10-9. The City Edition, that's the Prince, the purple Prince jersey. They're 4-2. The Icon, that's the blue jersey, kind of like the Association, not white but blue. They're 2-4. That's the only jersey that they have a losing record in. Your favorite jersey, I know, is the Classic Edition, the one with the black one with the green trees on it. The Wolves are 12-7 in that jersey. But their most successful jersey is their Statement jersey. The dark gray or slate with that lime color to it, with the Timberwolves, the M and the V kind of looking like wolves' fangs there. The Timberwolves are actually 5-0 in that jersey. So I don't know if it's something that the Timberwolves leadership and coaching staff are going to look at and say maybe we should just go Statement line for the rest of the season. We love seeing the black, the Classic Edition, the throwbacks to the KG years. They are 12-7, so a decent record there. But that Statement line, for some reason, that's where they're getting their wins. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for joining. And again, Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit the comments, tell me what you're thinking, respond. I'll reply back. I'll maybe even add some of your comments into an upcoming show. We have the All-Star break here, so maybe I'll go back and hit some of those comments. But hit subscribe, tell your friends, and join in. All right. Thanks. We'll see you soon.